One cultural community in the Northland held their New Year celebration today in Duluth.
As Northern News Now's Car Cop tells us, the festivity transports traditions to the area and helps bring a culture to life.
Many in Duluth celebrated New Year's on Saturday. Not Western New Year's, but Hmong New Year's.
It's fun to stop and celebrate with other people in your city.
The Lilligard family was amongst some of the people getting a taste of the traditional clothing, food, and dances of the Hmong culture at the United First Methodist Church. Excited to celebrate and learn about their history.
I was thinking that to show my kids this, we'd have to go down to the cities, but it's really neat that even in our neck of the woods where we have that around.
A celebration usually held in the November and December months to acknowledge the end of the harvesting season, thus bringing in the beginning of the new year so that a new life can begin as a cycle of life continues.
It's important for the Twin Ports because as our numbers begin to dwindle over the Twin Ports due to opportunities elsewhere, mainly employment, as the Hmong population area gets smaller and smaller, it's important for us to still continue this tradition, even though there's so few of us here.
A truly vibrant event brought to the area, usually to keep the Hmong culture alive in the Twin Ports.
Yeah, I think it's just so important to show your kids cultures at a young age. We speak German at home, and we try to just expose them to different countries, different peoples, different celebrations, because at the end of the day, we're all people, and I think it's important to break those barriers down.
The Hmong New Year was initially celebrated in Laos, Southwest China, Vietnam, and Thailand, but has since become a worldwide cultural holiday.